Sometimes our content will help people to work out whether they like and trust us, and sometimes our content will help someone to work out that they don't like us, and both are okay. We can use creating content as a superpower to ensure we only work with people we like. It's so important. Find out why and how in this episode.
Welcome to the Content 10X Podcast, the show where content creators learn how to harness the power of content repurposing. And now, your host, Amy Woods.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Content 10X Podcast. I'm your host, Amy Woods, and this week's episode is about working with people that we like, our clients and colleagues alike, and how the power of creating content can make sure we have a happy, high-performing work environment. Business relationships are like any relationship. They work best if people really get to know and understand each other, and they are at their best if you actually like each other and enjoy your interactions. I'm about to share with you how content can be your magic solution to help make sure you have positive working relationships. Now, did you know that 1/3 of your life is spent at work, which means that the average person will spend 90,000 hours at work in their lifetime? This means that relationships that we have at work, so the clients that we take on, the suppliers that we work with, our colleagues and the people we hire, they are all actually really important to the overall quality of our life. How can they not be? We spend so much time interacting with each other. Now, obviously some more so than others, but I can honestly say that I spend more time interacting with my team than I do my parents, and I spend more time interacting with some of my clients than I do my friends. So what can we do to control the situation so that we work with people that we like, and why is that so important? Now, let me tell you a little story. Someone said something to me when I was fairly early in my business that really struck a chord. Now, a client of mine unreasonably blew a gasket over something that was not our fault, and they were being quite rude with me and another business owner who owned a third-party software involved in the issue. Now, the thing is, neither Content 10X nor my friend's business were responsible for what the issue was. But because the client didn't really understand the process, it was actually his own team that had made a mistake and his team needed to fix it. But when I spoke to my friend about responding to this really rude email, his stance was to tell the client to change his attitude or basically know where the door is. And he said to me, look, we don't go into business ourselves just to work with awful people who speak to us like that. And that really struck a chord with me because it's very true. So back to the question, what can we do to control the situation so we work with people that we like? Now, there are many things we can do, but one sure thing is to create and share content. Create content that is valuable to others, that demonstrates your knowledge and expertise, that will help grow your brand and what you want to be known for in the marketplace, and very importantly, that gives off your personality so that people can get to know you. Because authenticity and transparency goes a long way. Consistently create content, but don't put a mask on when you do so. Your content has to give off the right vibe for you to help people just understand you as a person, then also your business as well. If you're creating content in order to gain new clients, then the last thing you want to do is draw them to a version of you that isn't true. So the alternate persona that you create for your content. And then when you work together, you realize that you're not a good fit. So you want to avoid that. It's like lying and being fake on a dating app. It'll come back to bite you in the end. So firstly, create content that allows people to get to know you. And to me, that is video content, but also audio content too. So podcasts are so immersive and in many ways help us feel like we know the host in a way that no other content format can. And you don't have to do everything, because it's important to focus on one form of content and get really good at that. But that's where repurposing can save the day. So you can repurpose your videos into podcast episodes, you can repurpose them into blog posts and social media content as well. And if you follow this approach, you're giving everyone the chance to get to know you in the way that they like to consume content and in the best way that they connect with others as well. And all the while you're being super smart with your time and how you create content. Hey, just a little break from this week's episode to let you know about becoming a Content 10x Insider. If you want more content repurposing tips and advice, then why not join hundreds of business owners, marketers and content creators who get them delivered straight to their inbox once a week by subscribing to the Content 10x newsletter. As well as tips and advice, you get industry updates, inspiring stories, exclusive content, offers and more. You can subscribe at content10x.com/newsletter and there's a link in the show notes too. Okay, back to this week's episode. I think it's super important when a potential client expresses interest in working with you to actually ask them if they have consumed your content. Because if someone comes to you interested in working with you and they say they have been listening to your podcast for ages, or they've read your book, or they love your YouTube content, you can breathe a sigh of relief in a way that you have already spent a lot of time with them and they decided that they like and trust you. It's basically like you took them on all those business lunches and rounds on the golf course, just you weren't there. And that's the power of content. People spend time with you and they start to get to know and trust you, but your approach is one-to-many, so it's less labor intensive than the in-person one-to-one schmoozing of yesteryear. And also, if a potential client is going through the sales process but they say they haven't consumed your content, perhaps they were referred to you or they simply found you via a Google search but went straight to the inquiry form, ask them to go and check out your content. Give them some ideal videos to watch or a podcast episode to listen to or blog posts that they should read, because I think it's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. If you are providing them with a proposal or after you have pitched, just to say, hey, to get to know me, to see if you like me and you could work with me, go listen to or watch or read such and such content, because they will decide, yep, I could work with this person, or they might decide that they don't like you. And isn't that better to decide before you start working together than when you are knee deep in a project or service arrangement? That's exactly what you're trying to avoid, working with people that you don't get on with. For example, I came across someone recently that works with agencies to help them grow and scale, and the lady who runs the agency has a podcast. So I started to listen to her podcast and it was interesting, lots of great interviews, but it gave me an idea as to whether I liked her. And you know what? The answer was actually no. The more I listened to her episodes, the more she rubbed me up the wrong way. I found her dead self-absorbed and quite self-important, and just to me, she was quite annoying. So I realised I wouldn't want to work with her, especially in a coaching capacity. So we both won. I truly believe that. She won just as much as me in that scenario. And then on the other side, I've done the complete opposite before, where I've chosen to work with someone because I listened to their podcast and I knew I would get on with them. I knew that I liked the similar things. I knew that we had a similar sense of humour. We were very aligned in our points of view in many ways. And I knew that they were an expert already, but by consuming content, it gave me a sense of their personality and I knew that I liked them and I could get along with them. And another huge benefit, so content helps when it comes to attracting talent too. Just as much as you want to use content to attract the right clients and repel the wrong ones, your content can help potential new hires understand if they like you too. So ask your candidates if they have watched or listened or read your content and proactively tell them to. Consuming your content is going to help them get a feel for the culture of your business and whether it's right for them. And if they love what they see, then that is awesome. And if not, well, better to determine that you won't get on before they take on the job than months down the line with potentially a strained working relationship. All of this is important because everyone thrives when they enjoy what they do. If we work with clients that we like, with colleagues that we like, then we have high-performing, happy teams making clients happy. So it's an overall win-win situation. If you agree with me but you don't have content to point potential clients or new hires to in order to get to know you, then now is the time to start creating content. It's never too late. And remember the point I made about focusing on one form of content and then repurposing it for maximum reach, engagement and connection with your audience. You'll find that it will make a huge difference and will be well worth the investment. So let's go and find the people who we love to work with. Thanks so much for listening to this week's podcast episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, if you want help with your repurposing, then at Content 10x, we offer a fully done for you end-to-end repurposing service. So check it out. We'd love to hear from you. It's at content10x.com. And if you'd rather do it yourself and you don't have a copy of my book yet, then what are you waiting for? It's called Content 10x and it's available in Kindle, paperback and audiobook formats on Amazon and various other places too. You can just head to content10x.com/book, and do follow me on social media too. I'm at Content 10x on all the platforms, always sharing lots of tips and advice on content repurposing. So thanks so much for listening to this week's episode. All that's left to say is I will catch you in the next one.